I'm Charlene Schwenk, a teacher at Fraser, and this is my grandson Liam. He's going to help me read a wonderful story to you. It is a true story. It is called The Noisy Paintbox. It's written by Barb Rosenstock, and the illustrations are by Myra Grandpre. The colors and sounds of Vasha Kandinsky's abstract art. The Noisy Paintbox. Vasha Kandinsky spent his days learning to be a proper Russian boy. He studied bookfuls of math, science, and history. He practiced piano scales to the marching click of the metronome. He sat stiff and straight at dressed-up dinners while the grown-ups talked and talked and talked and talked. Vasha's well-off world was perfectly polite until the day his aunt gave him a small wooden paint box. "Every proper Russian boy should appreciate art," said Auntie. And she showed Vasha the correct way to mix colors on the paint box palette. Vasha mixed red with blue. Then he mixed red with yellow. As his colors changed, Vasha hears a whisper. Hiss. Louder. Hiss. Louder. Hiss. Then louder still. Hiss.
What's that sound?
Asked Vasha. "I don't hear a thing," said Auntie. Vasha listened as his brush stirred and swished. The swirling colors trilled like an orchestra tuning up for a magical symphony.
Mama! Papa!
Called Vasha.
What a noisy paint box!
"You silly Vasily," said Papa. "Stop being foolish," said Mama. Vasha painted the sound of the colors. He spun a bright lemon circle onto the canvas. It clinked like the highest notes on a keyboard. He brushed a powerful navy rectangle that vibrated deeply like the lowest cello strings. He tossed up jagged swashes of blaring crimson and added cheerful dots of burbling green, clanging orange, and tinkling violet. Vasha painted and painted until the colors went quiet.
Look what I made!
Shouted Vasha. "Is it a flower?" asked Mama. "What's it supposed to be?" asked Papa.
It's music!
Said Vasha, waltzing his painting around the house. "Calm down," said Mama. "Do some math," said Papa. heavens, said Auntie. This boy needs a proper art class. So Vasha went to art class and learned to draw houses and flowers just like everyone else. As the years passed, Vasha finished school and he studied to be a lawyer. He ignored his noisy Paintbox and he lived the way people expected. But Vasha couldn't ignore the sounds of the colors singing to him in the streets of Moscow. The canary-colored mailbox whistling as he rode to work. The scarlet sunset haze ringing about the ancient crimson walls. An ivory chorus of snowflakes scattered on the sable collar of his overcoat. One evening, suitably steamed and starched, Vasha attended the opera. As the orchestra's music crashed around him, the colors of the noisy Paintbox twirled in his mind, stomping lines of vermilion and coral, caroling triangles in pistachio and garnet, thundering arches of aqua and ebony with shrill points of cobalt and saffron. Vasha heard the colors singing. Vasha saw the music dancing. And Vasha was never quite as proper again. He quit his job teaching law. He moved from Moscow, Russia, to Munich, Germany, to be a painter. He studied with this famous teacher and then that famous teacher. Is it a house? Is it a flower? What's it supposed to be? His teachers asked. Vasha wanted to paint the colors he heard. But maybe the famous teachers knew best. Once again, Vasha put houses and flowers and animals and people into his paintings, just like everyone expected. The teachers, the famous teachers, were happy. Vasha was not. His artist friends understood. They too were tired of painting pretty landscapes and pretty ladies, and they thought that art needed to change.
Art should make you feel like music,
Vasha told them. Exactly, said his artist friends. But none of them knew how to paint feelings until the day Vasha grew brave enough and he invited the world to see the paintings roaring from his noisy Paintbox.
hiss, hiss, rattle, rattle, bash, bash, fizz, fizz, whistle, whistle, zip, zip, murmur, murmur, tweet, tweet, clang, clang, squeak, squeak.
Snapping cerulean points, crunching crimson squares, whispering charcoal lines. Vasha named these paintings after the music he loved.
Improvisation. Composition. Accompaniment. Fugue. Movement. And simply 3 sounds.
With his noisy Paintbox, Vasha Kandinsky created something entirely new: abstract art. It took a long time for people to understand. Is it a house? Is it a flower? What is it supposed to be?
It's my art. How does it make you feel?
Vasily Kandinsky was born in Moscow, Russia on December the 4th, 1866. His father also was named Vasily. Father was a wealthy tea merchant, and his mother, Lydia, was a noble woman with a passion for music. Vasily and Vasha and Mother traveled to Italy and then to Odessa, Russia, on the shore of the Black Sea for his father's health. When he was 5, his parents divorced, and Vasha lived with his auntie Elizabeth while finishing school. He attended law school in Moscow. He taught law and he taught economics. This book is historical fiction. The dialogue is imagined, but the events are true. In his writing, Kandinsky describes hearing hissing sounds as a child when he first mixed colors in his noisy paint box his aunt gave him. He continued experiencing colors as sounds and sounds as colors throughout his life. It is thought that Kandinsky probably has a harmless genetic condition called synesthesia. Tests to detect synesthesia were not invented during his life. In people with synesthesia, one sense triggers a different sense, allowing them to hear colors and to see music, to taste words, or to smell numbers. There are at least 60 different types of synesthesia, and it is estimated to occur in 1 out of every 5,000 individuals. Now that is a ratio, 1 to 5,000. If you double 5,000, you get 10,000. So that means 2 in every 10,000 people might have synesthesia. Add another 5,000, 3 out of 15,000. What if there are 30,000 people living in Ray County? How many people might have synesthesia? That would be 6. As an adult, Kandinsky attended an exhibit of Claude Monet's Haystack. The paintings stunned him because it was the first time he saw that art was not realistic, and he never forgot his Monet experience. Later, Vasha attended a performance of Richard Wagner's opera Lohengrin. He saw wild shapes and colors in his mind as the music played. At the age of 30, Kandinsky established himself as an artist in Germany. He died in France on December the 13th, 1914. Collections of his art can be found at the Guggenheim Museum and the Museum of Modern Art in New York City, the Art Institute in Chicago, the National Museum of Art in Paris, France, and the Gallery Studio in Munich and the State Gallery in Moscow, to name just a few. Maybe someday you will go to hear them.
I could hear the hiss of the colors as they mingled. Vasha Kandinsky.
The end. We hope you enjoyed this story. I hope that you heard many sounds. I hope you saw many colors. I hope you enjoyed this story. Maybe you can go back through and listen to the story again and write down the words that make you see or the words that make you hear. Or maybe there were some phrases that kept being repeated by his aunt and mother and father and his teachers. Thank you for listening to The Noisy Paintbox. And thank you, Liam.